Hey, have you ever wanted to go insane, perhaps a little manic, perchance a tad silly? Well, World of Horror is a game that, quite frankly, drove me off the deep end for multiple reasons, and is pretty much one of a kind. But what is a World of Horror, you may ask?
Pull off your skin.
Well, you're a young detective trying to solve the mysteries of your town before the ancient sleeping god goes, hey, I'ma eat that. Now, what exactly is it that drove me quite so insane in this game? Well, my friend, you'll find out, and trust me, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of reasons. So let's do it, let's get it, and see if I can actually beat this insane game. The first mission, or tutorial, or whatever you want to call it, starts with us in a school, even though the player characters are 20 plus something. Listen, it's too early to make a Dr. Disrespect joke, okay, let's move on. Our friend has gone missing and left us his notebook with details on something called the woman with scissors, and we have to perform a ritual to stop her and save it, but we need supplies, so we got to explore the school. You can select this option to explore, and it will randomly put you into a scenario for the area, and in our case, we get put into a locker room. Ooh, a baseball bat. Oh, inhuman harness. This silly event loses us reason, which is one of our 2 health bars we have, and the other one being stamina. And if either of these runs out, guess what? We die. It's crazy, I know. We can now equip the bat, and we continue searching. Ah, a woman. Sure, I'll help you. Yeah, oh, sweet XP. This is a majority of the gameplay for World of Horror. You'll explore a location and are given a random situation, and depending on what you pick, the game will roll a dice using one of your stats as a multiplier, and it will decide if you get a cool treat or a devious trick. Or like this one, you can just get punished straight away for existing. Thank you, World of Horror. Truly, there is nothing I can do but cry like a big baby, which I currently am. Oh hey, we can look outside, why not? Sure, might make me feel better.
He literally has a fat ass.
Maybe I'm good. Maybe I'm good. But after this encounter of a blobbish kind, we are met with the first combat section of the game, a previous victim of this scissor lady. The design is super cool here, with her eyes and mouth having openings where she was snipped. Something you're going to see a lot of, as the enemy design in this game is super baller. Alright, this art style, I'm McLovin' it. How does the combat work, you ask? Well, look at these aesthetically pleasing menus. We can queue up multiple actions depending on their speed. You have a set number of 200 to choose actions from, so you have to use every gamer's worst fear, math, to figure out if you can attack her twice or 3 times a turn. And there's a lot of different actions for a turn, as well as unique interactions per encounter, but hey, we're gonna get there. For now, this enemy is pretty weak, dealing only 1 damage on either of our stats, with a fairly lousy health pool. You gotta quit the cowboy killers, buddy. And we defeat her and gain XP, as well as less chalk for our ritual. So now you can use the notebook to make sure you actually have the right symbol on the chalkboard for the ritual. Otherwise, a bad thing will happen. Trust me, you don't want to know. Exploring again, we can find the candles for the ritual, and now everything is all ready, so we can begin. I'm sure this is unrelated. Okay, well, maybe not. This is the first boss. Oh, here we go. Kuchisaki Onna. Wait, no, the scissor lady, my bad.
Actually, she's based on the urban legend.
That's right, she does a little bit more damage, and is just a tad more tanky. Get ready for this. I missed a lot. Thank you, World of Horror. Luckily, we defeat her, and the case is brought to a close with us saving our good buddy. So that's a good idea of what to expect. So let's now load into the first actual full game with the extracurricular mode. This serves as a curated playthrough for new players like us. The character, the stats, and the mysteries are all set for us, as well as the old god, which is trying to eat reality, which all have their own individual effects on the game. And this time round, it's my homie Ood, or my homies love Ood, and he will cause all battle damage for enemies and us to be higher. But now we can go into our own apartment, as well as this cool lighthouse for some reason, and it's locked, thank you game. The apartment holds a trove of features, like watching the news, looking through a hole in your wall, hey man, and taking a bath. Wow, this really is a horror game for my audience. Alright, I hate you. Most importantly, we have the quest board, where at any given run, there will be 5 investigations for us to solve at random, unless you're on easy difficulty, in which case there's only 4. Don't judge me, alright? You'll see how hard this is. And we got some interesting ones here, to say the least. These names are, they're pretty rhymey, and as you can see here, each one has multiple endings, meaning a bit of replayability. Kinda. Let's do it and get started with the Far Out Fear Festival. We drive out of town into the secluded village in the woods, and here we can explore the village before the festival or relax at the inn, which we do, but it's kind of pointless as it's just there to restore your health bar, which is already full. So yeah, just wasted 2 minutes of my life. Thank you, World of Horror. After this, however, we can also look around the festival. Investigating the festival, you have a few choices. Explore, you can buy items, or you can look for enemies. And we of course picked up my man Yoichi. What does he do, you may ask? Well, you see, he doubles it and gives it to the next person. But after this, the next day started, and we were given a new option to explore the spooky creepypasta forest, which I ignored because I wanted to talk to this silly dog merchant. His stock is always randomly picked perfect and can offer consumables, weapons, and spooky masks as well, with cool effects, with only a small cost of doom for entering, and the need to pay for items with funds. But it's funny dog, so it's all good, man, it's all good. Well, we should probably actually investigate now, so we wandered to the forest, finding a couple things like a tree and a shrine. Oh, come on, man, motherfucker. After our little hiking trip, we visit the festival again and, it is what it is. It is what it is. Maybe I shouldn't have taken that many baths. Now all we can do is investigate the forest, because, you know, the whole village, kinda dead. As we wander around, we can find a variety of things here as well, like big rock, an abandoned tent, which we managed to gain some XP from, and a museum poster in a forest. At least it's of a funny stone man, I guess. So, what are the odds he kills me? Well, he didn't kill me, but he did take me into his goon cave with his gang and summoned this thing. Help me. Luckily, this story ends with some dude shooting that eldritch being with a gun, like that one guy, and we get to live another day. For completing that quest, we get rewards like XP and reducing our doom meter, so we won't get our mine exploded quite as fast. But since we completed our first quest, we get our first major debuff. The radio tower has stopped working, meaning we can't get calls from outside the town. Now, what does this do to the gameplay? I don't know. Probably nothing. Yep, it's nothing. The game is still getting content updates, and when I went to the wiki, it just said the same message as the game does, and I didn't see any debuff information.
I have several slurs to...
Once we get home, we can find a key in our letterbox, which you can see here, as well as a total amount of keys we need to enter that silly lighthouse. We pick up another case to work. A man went missing after buying, like, a lot of fertilizer, but this time the format changed. This is the most common mission type. Unlike the last two, you only really get a choice to explore the town to find answers to your investigation, as well as bonus objectives you can search for that potentially change the ending you're gonna get. Yep, another situation where I just lose health with no input. Very nice. Just hateful, really, and I respect that. I respect a game that hates me. Hey, she's kinda bad though. I take it back. I dig it. After brutally game ending that mannequin, we can finally level up, giving us the option of 1 more stat point or 6 health points, as well as a custom trait like gaining health with a successful skill check, which is pretty good. After a few more encounters, however, we get sent into a more unique area, forcing us to explore the forest to try and find our missing man by systematically clicking boxes. There's some pretty cool monsters in here, like a door-to-door salesman.
Go to HelloFresh.com and
everyone's true nightmare. More losing health for no reason, a worm lady, and a really cool looking tree. But eventually we reach the main story building and enter, and we find him being attacked by some rampant plants. And we're giving some unique interactions for this. We can either protect or guide the guy as he loses health every turn. Oh hey, what's this incredibly suspicious action all about? Well, this isn't going to end good. It did, in fact, not end good. And just like that, we went insane and probably got eaten by an eldritch frog or something, ending this first run. Get used to it, because this game pretty hard as balls. So let's keep slamming our head against the wall, shall we? Starting a new world, we get a different god this time. Instead, it's a silly spider creature. So now we just can't run away in combat, which I didn't even know we could do before now. So it's really not that big of a deal. And the enemies you would want to run away from are like the bosses. You can't do that with them anyway, so it's not really it does nothing. And now we have 5 new cases to choose from. Even if there's a duplicate or 2, not epic game, not epic at all. Dev, don't make me put you on the list. This time we take on the freaky footage quest first, because we got a freaky too, and we have to investigate the mansion twice. Cool. We also find the sculpture again, but this time we know better, and we take the second option, which instead gives you a random mask. I mean, they're always kind of weird looking, but Mimi likes that buff, so we put it on. Now, this investigation was running cold, so I had a pack of cowboy killers, you know, I popped a Zin or 2, I broke out my white monster. And I decided I needed a new trail to go on, so I went to the village instead. But as I was breaking into some guy's apartment, I cut my fucking neck on some glass, and now I have a cut artery, which loses me 1 health every investigation. That is weirdly slow, considering what I got going on. Good thing healthcare in this place is pretty cheap, and only cost me 2 doubloons to repair a fatal wound. This leaves me with a minor wound instead, which offers the lesser debuff of blood loss. At least now I can just leave, and I immediately get jumped by these hooligans. Yeah man, I love that guy. And just like that, 2 allies for free, which is pretty sick. And both effects are pretty useful, but I never used this one once because I forgot it existed. But now we have to explore the forest once again in search of the witch's cabin, where we think the tapes we've been searching for are hidden. Now, I'm just gonna let you know, a lot of the story of each individual case is in the flavor text between investigations, and quite frankly, I'm not reading all that out. Do you know how long that would take? Okay, how do you make that funny? I'm not even funny anyway. We find it and we can do 2 things. We can take the cassettes and run away, or we can can look into this ominous hole. So this is basically that movie The Ring, and I'm not looking into Sadako's hole. Goodbye. We collect the rewards and the key from the mailbox, and we also have the forest tapes now in our inventory. What can we do with them? Nothing yet. Like I said, the game's in development. Thank you, World of Horror. Oh hey, what's up, friend? Oh yeah, the library's closed now because of the case debuff. That don't matter. We ain't no nerd. So now we replayed the Fear Festival to try and see what different endings there were. And the ending for this one in specific depends on the time of day you get to the abandoned factory. The first ending we got was because we got there early before sunrise. And this second one we got is being down to getting there later. And there is a third ending for this, but man, it is so complicated. It's like weird. Regardless, after many encounters, such as the wine and dine, the lantern man, and the floating Nooksack, we eventually reach the factory. Instead of being kidnapped this time, however, we just arrive as the sun is rising and the cops have already raided the place, meaning the Ed-head creature has been set free. So what's next? This guy's ramen shop sells food that tastes like kinda weird. That's on point, baby. That's in theme. In theme. Not all quests were born equal, and this one only has 2 endings and essentially just makes you experience the most generic encounters possible, such as Bloody Lady or the Dead Officer, where you can pick up his revolver, which is just deviously strong. I'm talking 9 damage a shot, but you can make it more broken later on in the game, but we'll get to that later. The quest is just a good excuse for you to explore the town and utilize some of the areas like the store or the schoolyard to improve your build and stats, get some good items, all that good stuff, even if you constantly get health loss for no reason. But hey, I'm not angry, I'm just infuriated. For this quest, you can get a sample of the ramen and give it to the lab team to analyze, with another option being locked behind discarding 2 items during the quest's duration, something I refuse to do because I like my stuff. So yeah, they put crack in the broth.
Tell you what, that crack is really Moorish.
Pretty good quest line. It's kind of a shame that some quests have such a disconnect between the actual gameplay and the story relating to them. The only different thing about this quest is the ending segment, and everything else is just like generic gameplay, which is a shame. But of course, you can't do that for every quest, you know, you gotta have some of these stinkers just to make the game a bit easier and have more content. Speaking of which, I decided to repeat the School of Scissors quest again, right from the beginning. But I'm not gonna make you watch that, so let's just let's skip through this. And yep, here we are. Oh, I died. But hey, it gave me a unique screen. That's kind of cool. Now, how can we try and avoid these repeat quests and encounters again? Because they do get a little boring after a while. Well, you can unlock new content via the achievements in-game by fulfilling certain requirements, like winning the game once. Thanks, game. Thanks for taunting me because I'm ass. As well as fulfilling certain conditions, which in turn unlocks new characters and encounters, as well as cases for you to play. I mean, it does kind of suck you have to unlock all of that instead of just having it right off the bat. But then again, in this day and age, you got to work for your content. Now let's get real for a second. I'm going to skip through some attempts, okay? Because it gets a bit repetitive. I mean, I struggled. I struggled with this game for a while, okay? Quick play is low-key harder than custom modes because it just feels like, and call me crazy here, it feels like it always sets it on one of the higher difficulties when playing the game. And when you're trying to learn, it kind of sucks. So my advice to you is use the custom mode, because not all characters are built the same, as you're about to discover. Each one has different starting stats as well as unique encounters, and some of them are kind of busted, and others, well, I think they're garbage. For example, this lady right here has one of the most unique conditions, as she gains levels faster initially than the other characters, but is being chased down by some being from beyond the entire playthrough, which you can watch the bar slowly rise here on this side of the screen. And as you're exploring and completing encounters, you'll... What the hell is this thing? This is unironically actually freaking me out. Well, ignoring that. Wait, that wasn't there before. I don't like this. Anyway, as I was saying, oh yeah, so when this meter fills, this happens. And all your current XP resets to 0. You can't really level up anymore, so it's like gambling. You have to have a good start to your run to maximize the half-price levels, and yeah, I don't like her. Simple as that. I didn't really care when this run ended, because she's mid as hell. Am I right, boys? Subscribe to the J-Man. Subscribe to the J-Man. Like and subscribe to the J-Man. Good thing she's not a starting character. There are 5 starting characters in World of Horror, and all of them have advantages and disadvantages. And there are a ton more characters to play from other than the starters. But frankly, I haven't unlocked them all yet, because some of these requirements are so weird and specific that I would have never found them without the help of the wiki and specifically hunting them down. And even then, it's down to RNG, kinda. I mean, that is until I change what the wiki says. You're welcome. Then again, why would you ever care about those locked characters anyway, when you have the best character in the game locked right from the start? That's right, they all pale in comparison to him. JOHN YAKUZA. That's right, he's in this game, and he's my favorite player character naturally. And this guy, dare I say, has some naughty builds. What makes him so special, you may ask? Well, just just like the game, he has something that all self-respecting men have, a nicotine addiction, which gives you buffs depending on how many cowboy killers you smoke across a period of time. And not only this, you'll actually go through withdrawal if you don't get enough of that precious nit. And if you don't get it, you'll get debuffs like being slower in combat. Once you hit that death stick into your lungs, you'll gain increased speed as well as +1 damage to every hit as you become overwhelmed with the power surging through your veins. Not only this, but cigs are relatively cheap and help you by restoring focus each use. That's right, baby. Cigarettes are meta in World of Horror, but it gets even better. Now, I didn't capture all of it, so you can't see how I used Kiryu to mog every single combat encounter. What I can say is that by using the level up perks, it's kind of ridiculous. A living building got pistol whipped into submission using nothing but Zims and a broken revolver. And as you can see here, we got a lot of extra health left over, even after beating every single case. And now we make it to the lighthouse. And the lighthouse consists of multiple levels of challenges, which can range from questions about your playthrough, the combat encounters, to just raw stat checks, which if failed will punish you severely. But with stats this high, this is gonna be light work for my boy Kiryu. Oh wait, shit, the Doom meter. So, and there you have it. At the very end of my run, just at the finish line, I fumbled it by being too slow. So we know who the best character is, right? And we know a couple of the cases we have left complete, meaning it's only a matter of time until we wrong. You wanna know why? Because this game has mod support, and it's pretty good mod support too. What can it add, you may ask? Well, you got a choice of many, and I mean many, self-insert anime pro tags or Guna material mods that seem to make up 90% of the workspace for some reason. Or alternatively, you can be like me and install nothing but the most unrelated and stupid mods possible and get it away, get it away. I hope I never have to see that thing ever again. Dear God, gross. So as I was saying, the most likely thing you're gonna get is character packs. And these bad boys right here are what I went for. I got the Hunter from my favorite game of all time, Michael Zaki, PC pop please. We got the Big Drink, and we got Detective Columbo, whose dialogue is almost entirely in Japanese for some reason. I don't know why, but it is kind of funny, so I kept it. Modded characters have their own unique stat sets, and they're like mega gimmicks. Either just super into one stat invested and ass at everything else, or like the Hunter, you're just the best at everything, and your weapon does a ton of damage right off the bat, so it's basically a free win here. Even if the modded content has a 50-50 chance of just being in Japanese for no reason, I still love it. But now we're gonna take it to our very last run and finally beat this godforsaken game. I've died so. We got some good options now. We got the eel quest, the ramen one, again for some reason, the household of HE double hockey stick L's, the freaky footage, and the plan. I mean, this is a pretty good rotation, I gotta say. We start with the eel quest because I said so, it's my video. In this case, you and your neighbor lady start investigating why people are keeping these weird jars in their home, and you can investigate the seaside as well to get the wonderful reward of losing 1 health. After a while into the investigation, Kana, the neighbor, goes missing and leaves the party, making you do it all yourself. Which makes me ask the question, what do we even pay her for? Well, after killing a random cat and a toilet ghost, don't ask me, man. Well, after that, we decide to enter her apartment to try and find her. I mean, at this point it stands. Why wouldn't the horrific creatures be in her house? So now we have 3 options in her apartment. We can check the bathroom, check the bedroom, or just leave. So, you guys know me. What do you think I picked? I left. Listen, man, this ain't none of my business. Let's just say, if you do look around, it's kind of gross what happens. But we got some decent XP from all that, so now we take on the freaky investigation, the sailor investigation, as well as the ramen one, simply so we could grind for levels and items to make our build juice flow a little bit for when we get the harder quest of the plant one. But we also got the most valuable item possible, the cigarette case, which gives you a 15% chance to restore a cigarette after any investigation, which is pretty insane for Kiryu. The earlier you get this thing, the better, because it means you're probably never going to run out of cigarettes to paint your lungs black with. So what loot was I able to accrue, collect, and obtain, you may ask? I got some cigarettes, some homeless dude's heart, a first aid kit, and keeping with how I'm British, I even got a knife to stay true to my roots. I'm sure this is unrelated to my constant cigarette usage. Don't worry guys, I'm pretty sure the dev hasn't added the lung cancer feature yet, so these are still highly abusable. Clearly taking inspiration from Project Zomboid's devs and their shared love of smoking 10 packs a day. Finally, we come back to the botanist mission, where last time his head slid apart and he promptly killed us instantly. But this time we're prepared to not hit that prompt and instead just let him get murdered by the whips instead of saving him or fighting him. And frankly, it just ain't my problem, okay? I got this cool mask. Okay, I found it. I ain't dealing with this. So basically, I just cheesed my way through all 5 investigations. Yeah, that's right. I'm on easy as well. I don't care. I want this done, okay? I want this over with. But now, it's the lighthouse time. But first, let's use this cool substance I found on the ground. Cool, the lighthouse. And this time we ascend with the intent of finishing this fight once and for all. So we get asked some quiz questions. Okay. Little did I know, I would be facing the most dangerous enemy yet, Takashi. I don't know, I think he's a reference or something. I don't get why it exists. The game like hypes him up in the text before. It makes it seem like this guy's a bigger deal than he is. Oh well, let's evaporate him. And all that remained were the obligatory losing health stat checks, and we made it to the top of the lighthouse. And there it is, the envoy of the old god. So what do you think we do now? Is there an insane boss fight to top off the game? Nah dog, just click on it. That's it. That's too easy. And just like that, we get the ending photo of the game, and the end game stats to tell you how you did, how many new encounters you found, how many achievements you unlocked, and the game time. Just stats about the run and what you did well. It's pretty cool. No, how? What do you mean? What? I can't win. I can't fight. It found me.